Welcome, class. This is Doug Sainsbury's Biology 1010, Chapter 1, Intro to Biology. This chapter is going to go by really quick. We're only going to go over a few things, and the main reason for that is because if you were to look at this chapter in your book, it is really an overview of everything that we're going to be talking about in the book. So instead of doing an overview on it, we're just going to go through it through the whole semester here. So we'll go really quick through Chapter 1. All right. So Chapter 1 is Intro into Biology. Now, since this is a biology class, an intro to biology class, and this chapter is Intro to Biology, we have to determine what the word biology means. So that's going to be the first thing we're going to talk about here, is what is biology? So biology is broken down into two things. You have your bio, which means life, and ology, which means study of. So really, biology is the study of life. All right. Now, when we think about life, we often probably think of things like ourselves, animals, maybe insects, maybe bacteria. But how do we determine what is considered living and what is considered non-living? How is the chair that maybe you're sitting on or the computer you're watching on here considered a non-living thing, yet you are considered a living thing? And so scientists have come up with 3 qualifications of how we determine if something is living or non-living. So we have our 3 qualifications of life. And our first one is called metabolism. So metabolism is a set of chemical reactions in living organisms to maintain life. So when we think about this, metabolism is kind of like this idea of you eating food. So the reason why you eat food is because your body needs energy. But eating food isn't actually metabolism, it's kind of part of it. But when it goes down into your stomach and starts to be digested and then broken down and taken to, the energy is taken to all your cells, then in your cells you take that energy and you turn it into other energy, which then allows your cells to work, allows your muscles to work, allows your brain to think, and all that kind of stuff. And so metabolism is important because it's what maintains a living organism. If you don't have a metabolism, if you don't have an ability to be able to run all the different machines inside your body so that it works, then you're not going to be living. And so a rock doesn't need to do that. It doesn't need to be out in the sun like a plant to get energy. It doesn't need to eat food like a dog to get energy. And so metabolism is that aspect of taking in some type of energy and using that energy to actually allow you to move around and do all the different processes inside your body. So that's our first one. Our second one is reproduce. Now, reproduce is the process by which offspring are produced from their parents. I'll put an exclamation, so parents or parents. So we have what we call asexual organisms that actually can reproduce without other organisms. Then we have sexual organisms that need 2 parents to be able to produce offspring. So why would this be important for life? Well, life, if you can't pass life on to the next generation, then it dies, and therefore life never exists. So if you think about our very first living organism ever on the planet Earth, if it never reproduced, we wouldn't be here today. And so this is why this is extremely important, that reproduction is one of these top 3 qualifications. You need to be able to have generation after generation come from that original stem of life. And then our last one is evolution, or evolve. So evolve is a change in population over a period of time. Brought on by adaptation in their environment. Sorry, that says adaptation right there. So, once again, evolve, so the change in population over a period of time brought on by adaptation in their environment. So you're probably wondering, why is this important for life? Well, as many things happen in our environment, things change. And if life can't evolve around those changes, then they go extinct. And so they can no longer be considered a living. So think of the classic case of the dinosaurs, when either a supervolcano went off or you had a big comet or meteor slam into the Yucatan Peninsula, and all of a sudden now you had this big cloud of smoke blocking out all of the sun rays. These large animals that we know as dinosaurs ended up going extinct because now there was no sun to penetrate to make these plants that grew, and then these big animals that ate all these plants started to die, and then the big predators that ate all those plant-eating dinosaurs started to die. So the only thing that ended up living were those rodents and those small mammals, which then eventually became us. And so the ability to evolve, so our ancestors that were these smaller rodents eventually evolved into larger rodents, into larger different types of mammals, and eventually into monkeys, and then apes, and then now we are where we're at now. And so over time, once again, if we think about our first living organism, if it never evolved into some more advanced type of organism, or an organism that could deal with the current temperature that it was in, then it would never be able to continue to live. So evolution, or the ability to evolve, is one of these top 3 things, because that's how we continue on the species of life, or of living organisms, by being able to evolve as the different environment changes amongst our those organisms. So really, those are your 3 big things that make up life. And once again, life is biology is the study of life. And that's what we're going to be talking about this whole semester, is how do these things all play in a part. So we're going to be talking about metabolism. We're going to be talking about reproduction. We're going to be talking about evolution. And then we're also going to be talking a lot about things like genetics. And we're going to get this all started in chapter 2, we're going to be talking about chemistry. Because you can't understand biology unless you understand specific chemistry, because just like in metabolism is a set of chemical reactions, we have to understand what those chemical reactions are before we can actually understand metabolism. And so it's kind of a whole interesting mesh of science that we're going to learn about. So we're going to learn about chemistry, then actually we're going to learn a little bit about physics, so the transfer of energy, because that will also help us understand what metabolism is, before we actually jump right into biology. So we're going to learn about a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of organic chemistry, a little bit of physics, and then we're going to dive wholly on into biology and everything that makes it that it is. All right, so that's the end of chapter 1. Like I said, it's going to be very, very quick.